The word for today is more than one word. The words for today is breathe. Words for today are breathe through the tension. If you are feeling all the feels, that's okay. Congratulations, you are feeling the energy of the universe. And I was reflecting last night, just because you know that we're in the full moon in Scorpio doesn't make it any easier to acknowledge all of the feels. So if you are feeling all the feels, you are not alone. This is the energy of Scorpio. So welcome to full moon. I've got a couple of cards just to help us focus the energies, and I was also drawn to my little pink quartz there. Sometimes this moon is called the pink. I've seen it called the pink moon. I've seen it called, you know, different areas of the world have different names for this moon, but I quite like the idea of pink moon, especially as my page that I'm going to work on had got some of the pink gesso from the start of the week when I was talking about the Jupiter-Uranus conjunction, and I've got a lot of pink gesso left over. It was pink because I was using a watercolor, and then I put gesso on, so you can catch that video. I'll put a link to it at the end. And it sort of turned the gesso pink, which I rather like, because now we're talking about the pink moon. So I'm just going to put the cards up there, and I'm going to anchor the energy of what is going on in the full moon in Scorpio. It's quite nice to write on the gesso. It gives a really nice foundation. So full moon in Scorpio. Let's bring the energy to the page for what is going on for the full moon in Scorpio. This is what you might have been experiencing. Intense emotions. Let me just grab my little notebook there so that I can remind myself of what I was looking at my own experiences this morning. Intense emotions, old experiences may be surfacing. I think that's partly to do with Mercury retrograde. Old experience surface to be healed. That's a tricky one, isn't it? That's a tricky one, because you go, oh, I didn't want to remember that. And you go, well, the reason they're resurfacing are so that they get to be healed, and we can grow. And we can grow. That's part of all that. Self-reflection is required. And what's that got to do? Self-reflection. What's that got to do with Scorpio? Scorpio is looking at your shadow. Ooh, shadow side. And we may go, oh no, I don't want to look at my shadow side. And you go, it's okay, because that is where we see the transformation. When we look in the shadows, when we look into the shadow, we find answers. That's where the answers are. They're hiding in the shadows. That's my big aha for this this time of year, this time of the month, this time of the season. What else have we got in there? Sensitive. It's sensitive, passionate. Scorpio's passionate. It's if that word intense again, intense everything. Supercharged. We have supercharged. This is a supercharged time. And, if you are feeling all the feels, then that's what we get to do in this full moon in Scorpio, because we get to balance Full moon is always about balancing all the feels. There's your Scorpio, with the sun that is in Taurus, which is about earthy practicality. So balance all the feels with practical answers. It's the word that wants to come there. So we're balancing this practicality while feeling all the feels. And that can feel overwhelming. That's, I think for me, that is, you know, it's the intensity of the emotions can just make you feel, oh, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. And it's interesting that this image of, you know, if we think about full moon in general, a full moon in general is about a climax. It's a woohoo, here we are. We are at, oh, that's interesting. My whole little ink tense has collapsed there. I'm pressing too hard, and actually that's another message that is coming through for me. it's don't push too hard. Don't push. Stop pushing. Stop pushing. Stop pushing. You've reached the top. Now we get to allow. Breathe as we reach the climax. We reach the pinnacle, the height, this intensity of emotion, heightened awareness, heightened intuition. We get to breathe. We get to surrender to the divine. That's it's really interesting. These keep breaking, and I'm receiving another message in there that these I'm using a tool, and that's not what it was designed for. Okay, right, I'm just going to pause. Okay, I'm going to come back to my pen. So surrender, pause, and you know, what am I receiving? What message? This heightened intuition is telling me, use the tools, use the right tools, use the right tools for the right job, for the task, for the feeling. Use the right tool for the feeling. Okay, right. What does that tell me? So these are ink tense blocks. The reason I got them out is I love using ink tense blocks over gesso because they are just really yummy. Notice how I've turned it on its side, and it's very happy now. It's very happy. Now it's going, oh yeah, this is what yes, this is how you use this tool. Don't try and use the wrong tool, you know. If you want to hit a nail in, don't use a screwdriver. If you've got a screw to go in somewhere, don't use a hammer. Use the right tools. And there is this sense of a mountain that is being climbed. The energies of the last few days have been intense and a little bit messy. And Scorpio, one of the really interesting things I was reading about is Scorpio is I'm not going to dive into the astrology too much, but it's a fixed sign. And Scorpio has an incredible strength. And because it's a fixed sign, look, it doesn't want that pen. Let me just breathe into what wants to come onto this page. Interesting. What does want to come onto this page? Use the right tools. Use the right tools for the task in front of you, for how you are feeling. Okay, so I do love Create and Listen because it always keeps me on my toes, because the muse takes over and you go, oh, and I'm going, well, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? We want green, apparently. Stick with these. Okay, okay. And that is... Okay, so what was I saying? Scorpio is a fixed sign. Scorpio has a strength that says enough, enough, enough. And I can use these if I'm really super gentle. Enough already, enough with the self-criticism, enough with the doubts, enough with all of the negative feelings and energies that are around us. Enough already. Just leave it. Just leave it. Leave it behind. Leave it behind. Okay, noticing the colour. I'm surrounding this mountain with a sort of yellowy, orangey green, which is, you know, it's that the heart wants to come through, but it's being swamped by the emotions. Okay, I know I want, and I know I had a wipe. Here we go. Here we go. Because this is the magic. Here's you know, let's bring some magic to the page. And what that looks like is a baby wipe. I'm dampening mine because they're a bit elderly. They've dried out. Okay, so I've got a damp baby wipe. Okay. And then I am going to just work those colours into the page. A little bit muddy around the outside there with all of the emotions swirling. Okay. Let's just work a little bit more water. So as I'm doing this, it allows me to just think about, okay, what is it? What is it that I am ready to release when I've got to that point where I've gone, enough already. Leave it behind. This is what this is the invitation of the full moon in Scorpio. Leave the past behind. Let it all go. Let it all go. It might look a bit muddy round the outside there, and that's okay. Then what I like doing with the ink tints, so this is a technique. This is, oh, I really like doing this. This is a technique I love doing, is we can then work into that through a stencil, and we sort of get a pattern. And I picked up a couple of stencils before I started, because I just went, oh, you know, what stencils do I want to use today? And I think it's quite interesting that as I'm picked up this one, which looks like bricks, you know, this is, I'm feeling that the past can sometimes just, it's like a brick wall, and we're being boxed in. That's the old pattern. That's the old pattern of all of this intense emotion. That's what the intense emotions are revealing to me, is this old pattern that's a brick wall that keeps me, well, it keeps me safe. That's the voice of fear. The voice of fear wants to keep me safe, but it's actually keeping me boxed in. Okay, so what wants to come? What's hidden in this mountain. This mountain feels like it's got wisdom to reveal. And this is even darker and more shadowy, more shadowy. Apparently I've lost my words today. Okay, let's see if that'll just do a little bit more. And as I'm doing this quite gently, I'm remembering the stop pushing, slow down, breathe through this. This is intense. I'm noticing all of the colours that are coming through onto the page. There's a few wrinkles there. You know, I keep having the message, iron out the wrinkles. You know, it's a fine tuning. We're not having to change everything. There's some wrinkles that get to be ironed out. Okay. That's feeling very yummy. Now I'm going to just grab myself a new wipe, and as I say, have these been cheapy baby wipes are lovely for doing this, but mine have dried out a little bit, so I'm just dampening it. It's quite nice actually. This water was from the last full moon. This is the last of the full moon water that I had. I was going to put some out last night, and then I got distracted. Okay, let's have some bubbles. Let's bring, this is what is bubbling up under the surface. This is what's bubbling up in this mountain. This is where I get to breathe. I get to breathe in the shadow. I get to breathe in the darkness, because this is where, I mean, I've said many times, it is in the darkness, it is in the shadow that we see the greatest transformation. That's where the secrets are hidden. That's where we discover the treasure. You know, we go into the cave, we fight the dragons. Well, actually, I don't think we do fight the dragons. I think we work with the dragons, but there we are. But we find the dragon. That's where the treasure is. That's where the treasure is. The dragon is sitting on the treasure. This is really interesting stuff coming through for me today. So, okay. So hidden in the cave, in the darkness, in the shadow, which is what Scorpio says, hey, come and have a look at this. That's where we find the treasure. That's where we find what is hidden. That's the juicy stuff. That's where we find our passion and our fire that is protected by the dragon. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so I've got dragon energy coming onto my page. That makes me sort of go, oh, I want a picture of a dragon, or what does my page want next? What's the next thing I need? Okay, it's breathing through the tension, surrender to the divine. Maybe it's some words at this stage. I would love a picture of a dragon. Do I have a dragon at my fingertips? No, I don't. So I'm going to need to go and find my dragon. Ooh, that feels quite interesting. I feel like, let's come back to this wall. I also have this stencil that's got numbers and letters all over it. And I'm going to get some acrylic paint and just see what happens if I stencil through that. It's interesting because, so in Create and Listen, one of the really interesting things that happens is I suddenly go, oh, I want to use that, and then it's not quite at my fingertips. That's okay. Right, what do I need? And that's the thing. Here's the message. What do you need? because you do have everything at your fingertips. You do have everything you need, but sometimes you just need to make a fine adjustment. That's the energy of the full moon. I'm just going to pop a little bit of paint on a thing over there. I'm going to use this one to work through the stencil. What does that look like? What does that look like? Not sure. Not sure. So keep going. Keep going. There's something about, there's a sort of, the phrase that I'm hearing is that, you know, what's the writing on the wall? What are you seeing around you? Maybe the answer is on the wall. But what's really interesting is it's not clear. This is not clear. I can see that it's letters. I can see that it's numbers, but it's not clear yet. Okay. And I'm reflecting on how, you know, that sort of that makes me feel frustrated, because I'm going, but I want to know the answer. Want to know the answer now. And one of the other sort of sensations, messages, feelings that I'm getting is you get to be patient. You get to be patient. This is surrender time. Surrender to the divine. Stop pushing. Be patient. It will be revealed when the time is right. And you do have everything you need. Oh, that's interesting. So let me just share what's coming up for me on my page. Other than the fact I feel really uncomfortable, because I'm wanting clarity. I want to know what this writing is on the wall. I want answers, and I can't see the answers, and that can make me feel that okay, here's what's coming. I can't see the answers. I don't know. And actually, I don't have any control over this stuff that is going on around me. And what happens when we try and control that which is not ours to control, we just waste energy. We lose energy. We're wasting energy when we worry and we try and control what's going on around us if it's not ours to control. I hear the message that what I get to do is come inside, come in here, come into the cave. Come into the cave and spend time with your dragon and discover the treasure. Okay. I'm just pausing, wondering what else wants to come. There's a sense that this card, Surrender to the Divine, wants to just come onto that page. Maybe even with my lavender, my little bunch of lavender still here, and it's calling for, I am receiving the healing that I need in the cave.